What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about supplements. Which supplements should you be considering taking? Which ones to avoid? Find out later in the video. First of all, like the video, subscribe for more content. Now let's get into it. So the first disclaimer to make in terms of supplements is that you need to prioritize other things first. So you need to prioritize your diet, your nutrition, make sure you're eating plenty of fruit and veg per day, you're getting all those micronutrients, so the vitamins and minerals that your body needs to survive in, you're drinking plenty of water, at least 2 to 3 litres a day, your training is on point, so you're training with the appropriate intensity, and you're focusing on your macronutrients, you're getting the right amounts of protein, carbs and fat in, and your total calorie intake as well. Second disclaimer, the research that I've done is based on a number of articles I've read and mainly using examine.com, which I highly recommend you checking out before you invest in any supplements. Make sure that you do your own research and that you are aware of what you're buying before you invest. Now that disclaimer's in the way, let's get into a number of the supplements that you should consider, and I'm going to start off with whey and casein protein. So casein and whey protein, they're both byproducts of cheese production, and casein contains amino acids, carbohydrates, and 2 essential elements being calcium and phosphorus. Whey protein contains leucine, which is one of the 3 branch chain amino acids that I'll be talking about later, which helps to promote muscle protein synthesis, which is the process by which our bodies repair and grow muscle. So what are the key differences between whey and casein? Well, the main difference is the digestion rate. So casein is much slower digesting than whey protein. So this is quite often why whey is consumed as a post-workout shake, and casein is often taken before bed to slowly release overnight. Which should you supplement with is the question. So the whey protein is slightly cheaper than casein by about £3 or £4 per kilo, and because of its profile with leucine, which promotes muscle protein synthesis, I personally think you should be prioritizing whey protein over casein, which is what a lot of people do. Are whey and casein actually necessary? Well, technically not. You could get the amount of protein that you require in your diet, so anywhere between 1.6 and 2.2 grams per kilo of body weight of protein. Anywhere in that ballpark is going to be very beneficial for muscle development. Now, if you can get that amount in your diet with just food products and you don't need to turn to supplements, then that's fantastic. But for a lot of people, especially if they weigh a lot, if you're trying to consume up to 2 grams per kilo of your body weight in protein per day, sometimes it's practically not feasible, especially if you're on the go a lot and you're busy with work. It's going to be quite difficult to get it through purely food. This is also going to be more expensive than utilising whey protein, because you're going to have to eat a lot more meat and dairy than it would if you just use whey protein between meals, say. Branch chain amino acids, so BCAAs. What are they? They are leucine, isoleucine and valine. These make up 3 of the 9 essential amino acids, meaning that the body cannot produce them, so they have to be consumed through the diet. 9 essential amino acids. There are 11 non-essential amino acids which can be produced by the body, making up 20 amino acids that we require in total. Now, the BCAAs make up 3 of these 9, and isoleucine is beneficial for promoting glucose uptake into muscles. Leucine is beneficial for promoting protein synthesis, which helps to build muscle, and more research is required to determine what the role of valine is within the BCAAs. So where can you get BCAAs from? Well, many food sources contain BCAAs, including eggs, turkey, tuna, beef, and whey protein also contains BCAAs. Are BCAAs necessary? Not really. If you are consuming 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilo of body weight of protein per day, then supplementing BCAAs alone on top of that is not really going to do anything, to be honest. Over the last few decades, supplement firms have been promoting BCAAs as supplementing this alone actually causes an anabolic response in humans and therefore leads to more muscle protein synthesis and therefore gains, right? But this isn't true. If you look at a meta-analysis performed recently by Robert Wolf, which analysed a number of studies including Luard et al. Now this showed that the opposite was actually true. By supplementing BCAAs alone, it actually led to a decrease in muscle protein synthesis. Now the reason for that is because in order for protein synthesis to occur, you need the presence of all of the 9 essential amino acids and adequate amounts of the non-essential amino acids as well. So by supplementing 3 of those 9, it's not actually going to do anything. And what happens is, in order for muscle protein synthesis to occur, we'll need some form of the other 6 amino acids, which are only recycled through muscle breakdown. And your body is constantly balancing the two things. It's simultaneously going through muscle breakdown of muscle tissue and repair and growth. And by supplementing BCAAs alone, they found that it actually led to muscle breakdown outweighing the synthesis and therefore a reduction in muscle protein synthesis. Having said this, can there be benefits for certain populations to take BCAAs? Well, in short, yes. For example, vegans who are not consuming dairy or meat products which contain a lot of BCAAs may be lacking BCAAs in their diet, and therefore in this situation supplementing BCAAs may be beneficial. However, I would say for vegans you could take vegan protein powder, which, if it's based on hemp and pea proteins, contain plenty of BCAAs, and you may be more beneficial doing that. It may be slightly cheaper as well. So taking some form of protein powder which contains BCAAs may actually be more beneficial than taking BCAAs themselves. But BCAAs also can be beneficial to ensuring people get in the amount of water that they require day to day. Some people don't enjoy drinking water, right? And if you maybe prefer soft drinks and flavoured drinks, then utilising BCAAs, which can be low calorie and can be quite tasty, if you want to sip those into your workout, then fair enough, it's not going to do any harm. If you've got the money spare to do that, and that is your preference to getting your water intake in, that is fair enough as well. That's another use of BCAAs. So although BCAAs can be beneficial for certain populations, potentially if you're vegan, I generally think there are better options out there. If you go for whey protein, for example, it will contain BCAAs, especially leucine, which is going to give you that added benefit of muscle protein synthesis. And I think there may be better supplements on the vegan market as well, rather than purely supplementing BCAAs. So in summary, for BCAAs, I personally don't think they're worth supplementing with. So what is creatine? Creatine is an organic compound found in the body, and it has been proven that supplementing creatine can have benefits for increasing strength and power during intense bouts of exercise, for short-term exercise such as sprinting and weightlifting. Now this is because the phosphocreatine stores in your body, when combined with ADP, convert to ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is the energy currency of the body. Now that in turn gives us more energy short term, up to about 10 to 12 seconds, and in theory that equals a couple more reps in the gym or the edge in the final sprint. So I've done a full video on creatine. If you are interested in further detail, I'll put the link up here. And all researchers suggest that there is benefit to supplementing creatine. Creatine monohydrate, which is the most well researched and the cheapest form of creatine, has been proven to have some benefits in performance in the gym and can lead to increased muscle mass as well. So are there potential side effects to creatine? Well, the main one that gets reported is stomach cramps and things like diarrhea, but that is mainly in situations where you are not drinking sufficient water. So you need to up your water intake slightly when you're drinking creatine. As long as you make sure that you're getting sufficient water in, you're going to avoid the stomach crampings. And you could also spread out the dosage that you're taking. It's quite often reported for these sort of side effects when you're taking a very large dose of creatine in one go. So make sure that if you are going to load it, then take it a number of intervals during the day. So how do you take creatine? Well, the general dose that's recommended is about 5 grams per day. Now, this will vary based on the amount you weigh and individual differences between people, right? Some people will be more responsive to it than others. Now, there's one way that you can take it is through a loading phase, where people take about 20 grams a day for a couple of weeks, and in theory this gets your body to reach saturation levels of phosphocreatine quicker. Now, I personally don't think this is necessary. You're just going to use your supply of creatine up quicker, and I think I would just generally recommend, to be safe, just doing 5 grams of creatine per day and literally just sticking with that forever. So there's been a number of studies that long-term use does not cause any significant health issues. The other benefit of creatine is it's really cheap. It's about £15-16 per kilo, and as I say, you're only taking 5 grams a day, so this could last you up to 6 months. So it's very cheap, it's proven, and one of the most well-researched supplements, so it does seem like a very good deal in terms of the benefit to cost ratio here. So what is beta-alanine? Well, beta-alanine is a building block for carnosine, which acts as an acid buffer in the body and prevents build-up of lactic acid in your muscles, which gives you that feeling of a stitch, as we refer to it when you're out of breath. So beta-alanine, when it's ingested, turns into carnosine. Beta-alanine has been proven to enhance muscular endurance, and it has been reported that it can be beneficial in the 8 to 15 rep range, and also for moderate to high intensity cardiovascular exercise such as rowing and sprinting. Now, the point to note here is from the research that I've done and the meta-analysis that I've looked at, the research shows a high strong chance that it will have a benefit, but the significance of this isn't that high. It's about 3%, 2.85% in terms of the impact it has in improving muscular endurance. Now, you could argue it's proven, but is that worth it in terms of the cost of it? Are there any side effects? Well, yes, and the main side effect that gets reported with beta-alanine is that a harmless side effect where you get this feeling of tingling all over your body called paresthesia, which is actually harmless, but it does freak people a bit when they take, say, a pre-workout, and all pre-workouts generally contain beta-alanine, because combined with the boost that you get from caffeine, this tingling sensation makes you feel hyped and gives you this perception of more alertness, when in actual fact it's just a harmless side effect from putting in a big dose of beta-alanine in a pre-workout, for example. A standard dose of beta-alanine is anywhere between 2 to 5 grams per day. You can avoid this feeling of paresthesia, the harmless side effect of the tingling. If you microdose and you do 1 gram per day, say 5 times during the day, you should avoid that feeling. The concern I have with supplementing beta-alanine is that if you're on a limited budget or you want to spend only a certain amount of money on supplements, then there are just better options, bang for your buck. So it's about £26-27 per 500 grams, and versus creatine, which is like £8 for 500 grams. Creatine is more well researched and more proven to have more of a significant impact and improvement in performance. So for me, I would prioritize my money towards whey protein and creatine over beta-alanine, but it's definitely something to consider if you have got the funds and you want to take your training to the next level and you already supplement with those other things. What is citrulline malate? Citrulline malate is an organic salt made up of the non-essential amino acid L-citrulline and the acid L-malic acid. The main dietary source of citrulline is watermelon, and the main dietary sources of malic acid are grapes and apples. What are the benefits of citrulline? Well, there's been some evidence to suggest that there's a small benefit in terms of reducing blood pressure and increasing blood flow, especially in people that have a history of cardiovascular disease or cardiovascular issues. There's also some limited evidence that suggests that it can help reduce fatigue and improve power output in both anaerobic and aerobic exercise. From the research I've done, I see no significant harmful side effects that have been reported. However, again, similar to beta-alanine, it's not cheap. It's about £28-29 per 500 grams, and the recommended dose is 6 to 8 grams per day, and that's an hour before training that you should take it. So if you are going to supplement it, try and take it an hour before training. So in summary, My top 2 supplements for you to invest in, assuming that you do your own research, is creatine and whey protein. Whey protein mainly for convenience and to ensure that you hit your daily protein target, and because it's cheap and effective, and creatine because it's one of the most well-researched supplements, and buying creatine monohydrate is so cheap. That is the most well-researched form of it, and it's definitely beneficial. I don't think it's necessary to supplement BCAAs, and I probably wouldn't recommend it unless you are vegan and you do enjoy taking them. Generally, for most people, BCAA is not necessary. There is a place for Beta-Alanine and Citrulline Malate, but only if you can afford it and you really want to make that minute difference when everything else is on point and you can afford to. But I do think that the best value for money is creatine and whey protein. Now, some notable mentions that I haven't fully included here. I've done a video on caffeine in more detail if you're interested in my personal relationship with caffeine, which is going to be up here. I definitely do think that caffeine can be beneficial to certain people, especially if you're training fasted first thing. I have used pre-workouts in the past as well, which generally contain caffeine and beta-alanine. So there's definitely a time and a place for caffeine and pre-workouts, but only for people that do not have a history of anxiety or depression. If you do, avoid these like the plague, because caffeine is going to have a very negative impact on anyone with anxiety. That's it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop it a like, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more content. I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you later. Bye.